Hello everyone, JRDL96 here with a brand new reaction. As you can tell by the title, it's another Jacksepticeye video, and it's another video that kind of piqued my interest. I think that's the best way to say it, and not just this other random video that Jack decided to do that piqued my interest. And I just completely contradicted that first statement I said. But this one caught my eye when I first saw the video, like the title and everything. I've always been curious on how Jack makes his thumbnails, and obviously they vary depending on what game and what is the thumbnail is based on and what it's about. Now, to me, when it comes to reaction videos, you could obviously tell I just take a frame from the video itself and then just insert myself into the frame, either like this, or this, or this, or this. I don't know. It's either or at this point. But I'm only limited because I only have Photoshop on this hunk of garbage. Yeah. This hunk of garbage. If I had probably the actual Photoshop, I'd probably be a lot better. So, don't judge me. Alright? So anyway, so let's get right into this one. So without further ado, let's react to this video, shall we?
Alright, so I'm going to make a video going over how I make thumbnails for YouTube. I've thought about doing this type of video for years and years and years, but I'm not a Photoshop expert. I still don't know what I'm doing in Photoshop. A lot of the techniques and a lot of the ways I do thumbnails, it's kind of just stuff hobbled together over the years and thrown together knowledge that I have accumulated for how I do it. And I know there's going to be a million different ways of doing everything that I do. There's probably 1,000 different ways within that make it easier to do. So, for these types of videos, I've always found them very beneficial for me. Anytime anybody that I look up to or anybody I watch shows how they do their thumbnails, I'm always really interested in that to see if I can glean any knowledge out of it. So, let's use this as like a symbiotic kind of thing.
Symbiotic?
I'll show what I do. Maybe
why that word?
In that, on how to make a thumbnail a bit better, or certain techniques, whatever. But also, maybe you'll be able to teach me some ways to do things faster. Now, I do have a video that I'm getting ready to upload, like right now, which is the end of Portal. And the first Portal thumbnail I did was okay. I thought it could be better. I just didn't spend that much time on it. So I want to do a nice one for this. I don't really know what I'm going to do yet except use Portal, so we'll see what happens. First things first, let's open Photoshop, shall we? 1920, 1080p, thumbnail, 300 DPI. I don't really know if there's any reason for that other than that's what I've always used, and that's what I'm always going to use. So first things first, I need a picture of the background of Portal. The way I normally make thumbnails is that I take some sort of element in the background and make that sort of the centerpiece for what we're doing. It doesn't really have to be anything crazy. Like here we just have GLaDOS.
That kind of, you know, relates to how I do it.
Yeah,
I just take
I don't really like that.
a frame from
it doesn't really
a good frame from the thumbnail from the video itself.
Splashes of color in it, so there's nice
and stuff like that. I just don't want to just upload it and just have, like, you know, the auto-generated thumbnail from the reactions. No.
Normally I do a background of 8 or a radius of 8 for that, just to kind of see how it looks.
I don't do that.
And then I do,
maybe I could in the future.
Much, sometimes I do 4 and have that. But again, this is just flavor for the background. And then I just mess with like the contrasts and the brightnesses just to make things pop a little more. You can go in and there's a nice handy tool in Photoshop where you can click auto-tone.
Auto-tone, not auto-tune.
Fixes things a little bit. Like you can see the original is kind of washed out in the edges. But then if you use auto-tone, it changes the contrast a bit. Sometimes it'll change complete colors, and sometimes it'll correct it and make it look a little better. So one of the first things I always do is hit auto-tone on a picture, just to see what it looks like. Sometimes it'll make it a lot better. Sometimes it'll make it look hideous. Sometimes auto-color helps as well. So just play with these 3, auto-tone, auto-contrast, and auto-color, because sometimes that'll save you a lot of work. Sometimes it just, you just put that in, and suddenly it's like, oh, everyth's fixed, everything's sorted, I like that. Then we'll up the vibrancy and the saturation, just to let the colors pop a little more. Again, YouTube loves color thumbnails. They're visually appealing, but again, that's just the background, it doesn't matter. So the idea I kind of want for this thumbnail is I mean, sometimes you go in with an idea, sometimes you don't. I'm always weird making videos like this because I don't want it to seem like
Yeah, for
I know
specific
best. I know
thumbnails,
exactly
I try to be
don't.
creative with some of them.
I'm flying off the seat of my arse most times and hoping that it works out. And I'd like to think that my thumbnails are decent, sometimes better than most.
Some of them are for me. Like I kind of just throw them, copy paste, and throw them together.
Because I just do it really quick.
Mine's pretty simple, but then again, maybe that's a bad thing.
PNG. You have to save a PNG because otherwise it won't retain its transparency. And stick her in because this is the end of the episode and the end of.
No, that's not great. Is that her voice sounds like that, right? Like I don't really play. I never played Portal, but I've heard of the game and I've heard of some of the characters.
It looks nice because it's something and something, and your eyes.
It's something I've always wanted to play too. Portal. I know it's the same guy who made Half-Life made it, so
like in the middle with something in the background like text. Like I've done for the Doom thumbnails recently, or the Resident Evil thumbnails. Those are really basic. It's just the background, the character cut out, and then the text in the background. And I've always done those for different types of games like Until Dawn or Undertale. If you go back and look at those thumbnails, it's just really basic stuff. Now, the next thing I want to get are the portals. So I'm going to put these in. I'm retaining the transparency of these as well. I'm just sticking those in the background. Again, the last thumbnail I made was basically this as well. I just like how it looks. It's the orange and the blue are such contrast or
orange and blue,
you want to call them, that I really like them anyway. But I wanted to see what it would look like if GLaDOS was like coming out of this portal. So we're going to try and get that effect going, but we have to make sure that she's the right size.
And blends in perfectly. It doesn't like cut out.
Bonkers. Can I save this with this? So I'm selecting this and I'm going to go up to edit content aware scale and then hold shift and drag that up. Now sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it looks great and then sometimes it looks
like shit.
Awful. And sometimes you can kind of get away with it. See there, it looks okay, but not.
I never thought of doing that.
These are the types of things
I might be learning shit. You know, the clone tool.
This is the spot healing brush.
Heal.
The one I was just using. I'm so bad at explaining what I'm actually doing. Again, these things they're like the
I think I've used some of those tools too.
They're the details that later on I look back and go like, man, I could have done that better. But for the sake of time and efficiency, I could be here all day making thumbnails otherwise. So I want to get rid of the black in this. So you can go, there's numerous ways you can do this.
Select.
You can get the wand and just select the black.
And then just delete it.
Or you can go like select color range and then click on the black and it will select that. It selects all the other stuff.
Yes, that's the only other issue.
It'll only affect the layer that you have selected. For the sake of this, I'll just go to the magic wand. And then select, and then
delete.
I want to take that out. So what I'll do is select and mask. Let's put this on a white background so we can kind of see what we're doing a bit better. So the black is only selected. And if you press R, you can go to the refine edge. And just go over the edges. Normally you use this for like hair, because if your hair is against a white background, ideally you can use this and it will actually select all the little strands of hair. And that's how you can actually get the hair to pop out and you won't have to like just cut a hard line around everything. And then
that's kind of like what I do with my hair.
Smooth it, not really.
I'm only limited on iPad Photoshop, so that there's not all the great features of Photoshop on there.
Of this, which is what I really want, because you don't want it to seem like you just hard cut all of that out. And now you have this nice kind of fuzziness of the inside of the portal, which I like a lot. And now, to make it look even better, to make it stand out even more, I'm just going to get a random other portal image and stick that in the background. Any image. It really doesn't matter. The only thing I want to get across is that it's like a different area, a different location.
Because that's what the point of the game is. You're going from one place to another.
As you can see, windows into different areas, so it just looks nice to have it that way, and it makes it.
And you want to show like where exactly GLaDOS is coming from. GLaDOS is coming from. Hopefully, I said the name right. I do want to play Portal. I'm not trashing it in any way.
On its own.
I
in a
do want to
window,
play this.
which I think looks really
I gotta
nice.
find it. I gotta
Again,
see if it's
just,
on
It's the tiny
PlayStation.
little subtleties in it where,
Oh, I'm pretty sure it is,
like,
but
you see, this is all
it's probably
blurry,
on
basically,
PlayStation
and this
now.
is
That hunk
not.
of garbage
So
that
for me,
you have to
then,
pay
that means
$60
that,
to
this
play
is
all
more in
classics.
focus. This is clearer. This is all the stuff that doesn't really matter. This is just adding color to the background, basically. So this sort of gives the window effect. Now, as I'm doing this, I'm debating whether or not I should actually put myself into the thumbnail at all. I normally put myself into the thumbnail because when you look at it, then it's immediately like, oh, it's a Jacksepticeye video, because that's his face. I see it. So if you like my videos, then you might click on it more. If you don't like my videos, then you'll be like, okay, I can avoid that one. Whichever you prefer. But now, as I'm doing it, I'm starting
This
to
whole
wonder
month's
if
been
that
mostly
would
him,
be
his
good.
face, and myself.
But I do
which
want
is
to
kind
put
of
in the orange
horrible.
portal to kind of offset things. But now we're just going to cut GLaDOS out to make it seem like she's actually coming through the portal. I'm
Yeah,
just gonna
cut some things out.
really soft edge on the eraser, just the least amount of hardness, 0% hardness on it, to just kind of go around this. There's probably better ways of
0%
doing it,
hardness.
but
huh.
again, just to sort of keep that fuzziness to it.
Keep
And
the
now it looks like
fuzziness.
she's actually kind of coming out of it, and her bleeding out over the edge of this makes it seem like there's more depth to it, which
Yeah.
is what I want. I could blur,
You know, blur. Yeah, blur. I
this
would honestly
background
blur
here,
some of
blur
some of it.
less than what was here. So it's still
Just
pops
blur
off
it
this one,
enough.
but she pops off of that a little more. So the whole point of these thumbnails is to add layers to it, so that there's stuff in foreground, mid, background, whatever. Again, I don't study this stuff. I don't really know what I'm talking about, so I'm just going to go with what I think looks good. Because if you've ever watched, there's so many people that I follow that I wish they would go through their processes on things a bit more. Again, I'm just messing with all of this stuff to make it look a little better, just to make it pop a little more.
Some thumbnails are not.
There's so many people
Like
who are
if it's a Q&A, I could just take a
somebody who's really good
screenshot
at
from
FPS
the
games,
video
I really wish
itself
as they
and
were
then just
playing,
put.
they would just say out loud in a
Then
video
put text
what
on
they were
it.
doing, just once, so I could learn the tactics of how to
Same
make
thing with
things
like
out loud and be
specific
like, oh,
videos.
that's why you did that sort of thing. So I always thought that maybe some people might want to watch me make some thumbnails, just in case you like how I make them, and that there's some sort of information that I can kind of give over. See, now I'm debating whether I keep it like that, or I just zoom it way the F in, so we can get, now she stands out way more against the background, because this is more bland and generic, whereas this is very messy. I don't know, we'll see. That's just the first half of it done. Now you have to stick me in. Normally, I have my camera on a cam link going straight to my computer, and I use that to
That's what I always
just have the video up,
suspect.
and I'll just take a screenshot.
That's what I'm pretty sure how Mark does it too with his.
Go back and time it. I used to do that, and then I realized that was stupid. But I want a high clarity shot, and this background is really nice, and it's blurred already, so it's easy to crop me out of it. But now I'm recording with the camera, so I don't know how to get the stuff
It's
that
okay,
I actually
I
want
fixed.
out of it. See, we can do this. So now I'm recording it, but this is how I normally do it, and then the Elgato capture actually just has a screenshot button down here. So normally I'll just be like, and then I'll take a screenshot. So what do I want to be doing in this? I want to be going up against GLaDOS. So what kind of pose do I want? It's always the generic thing where it's
Elgato, I think
like,
I just got that recently.
That's literally all it is. I used to have a whole folder on my computer of me just with my faces. And then all the faces got outdated because a lot of them just have green hair, and then a lot of them had the ponytail. And then I was like, well, I don't look like that anymore. I'm self-conscious because people are actually looking at this. I don't know what to do now. That's a good face, right? Like I'm steely determination. Because I would get an actual shot of me from the game, but a lot of times because I'm moving all over the place, you can't pause it and get a clean frame because it's just too much movement. There's too much blur going on, and most times my expression is just not that great for a thumbnail. Your thumbnails should usually be like a clean expression that conveys things like properly. And this is how basically every YouTuber does it. But in the orange one, now this wasn't transparent, so I have to do the same thing again, where I select the outside of it first, and then I will have to go along the edge. I'll do it in black now this time for the extra contrast. This is going to look a little stinky, but it just gives that sort of fuzzy look to the outside of it. Oh, that's not.
Whoops.
No. I gotta select the inverse, and then
Do that.
paste it over. There we go. And now, these are all the little tiny things that I'm sure there's a reason for these compositionally, and how people do stuff or whatever. But because this one is slanting that way, it's going to up and to the right. I want to take this one then and do the opposite of that. Or the, I guess.
No,
you
just tilt it the other way.
With it.
Tilt it the other way.
Against it.
Yeah, tilt it in the opposite direction so it looks like it's doing this.
The frame more. And when I started off doing YouTube, I was so terrified of putting too much in the frame. If you go back and watch or look at my really early thumbnails, you'll see me in the bottom corner, like this size. I'm tiny. Because I was so paranoid about putting too much of myself in the thumbnail that people would get annoyed by it. And now it's like, no, compositionally it just looks wrong because there was a whole bunch of dead space. I feel the same way. I'm like, and that's mainly how I do it.
But then again, I still do it anyway.
Avoid as much dead space as possible. Let's rotate these guys out a bit more.
Yeah, you selected all the layers there.
Her bigger.
GLaDOS and the portal.
I would normally keep everything in frame. Like if I'm doing an expression, I would try and keep as much of me in frame because I thought, oh well, they need to see the thing that I'm doing, and people need to see the full portal. But people are smart, brains are smart. You can make up the rest of the image just by looking at it because your brain fills.
I don't think people are going to pay attention that much to the thumbnail. Like I don't think they're gonna pay attention to what you're doing.
I really like how this is looking so far.
Seriously, I don't think they're gonna pay attention that much.
I think this is
they're not gonna like analyze the thumbnail and say, "Oh, I know there's a story there."
Snake-like. This one they actually gave her more of a face that's extended out of the body, but this looks much better. And I really like how this looks so far. The portals are different sizes though. I took out the background for a second because I still don't really like it. It's too busy. I almost just want a flat background, and it's easier to figure out what I'm doing if I see it like this. All right, let's see how this face actually goes in. So now I'm using the Quick Select tool.
Quick Select.
It's in the one with the magic wand. I don't care. Oh god, I know how already. I'm trying to show the people the other tools inside it. So it's the magic wand, but there's a quick selection.
Quick selection, yeah, I got that too.
And press W, and you can flick between all of them. I want to take me off the background, basically. So
I have to erase myself from the background.
This is one of the first techniques that I learned doing Photoshop because it was the one that I needed the most.
And then I have to color in my hair, which people
because a lot of my old thumbnails
always had to point out back then.
I would just take my face.
I had to put lines to make it pop out a little bit.
And scrub across it, usually, and then it detects the pixels and stays within that. You can take it out with a pen, or you can take it out with a lasso, or whatever you want to do. Those are a lot slower. This usually cuts the time in half for me, or even way more than that. And then you can hold Alt to do the minus to take out the stuff that it didn't detect, and you can kind of keep going over it and over it to detect stuff a bit better. And then you can start refining. But newer Photoshop has this new thing where you can get select and then hit subject. And most times, it does it for you. That's a new thing that I only found out about in the last...
They could have added that years ago.
Last year, where it detects the pixels anyway, what's light and what's dark and what doesn't really conform. All of this is easy because it's a white background on a dark set of hair. This stuff usually gets a little messier because
especially with the shirt with the red with the red light.
Then go up to select and mask. You can do that by hitting W again to go back to one of these tools that allows you. Now you can see how hard the edge is. So for a lot of this, like the hair is fuzzy. So I'll do the same thing again where I hit R.
Oh my god, that is so fucking easier.
Surgeon. So then it just keeps the fuzziness of the hair, and it stops it looking like a hard line.
God, that is so freaking easy compared to what I have to do.
But I don't really like it personally.
Well, especially with your beard too, you have to refine.
Get the hairs out, but yeah, it's not bad. Just to give that to make it look like hair, and then you can like smooth it out if you want. I used to use Smart Radius to do it, but Smart Radius has kind of been stinky in the last while. Sometimes it doesn't really work. If you have something on a green screen.
Usually that would be easy.
Like if it's just me on a green screen, you can hit decontaminate colors, which will detect the color of the background to you, and any of the haloing of the color that comes around, it'll get rid of. It actually worked pretty well for this.
Except for...
Yeah, but sometimes you can see that this edge looks a little weird. Like, the pixels just don't look right.
Especially with the shirt, you see the blue.
If there's no color...
That's another thing, too. I hate, too.
I just smooth it out up the contrast and shift the edge. So any color bleed that comes off the background is kind of blended out. Again, there's probably easier, better, faster, cleaner ways of doing that sort of stuff. That's just the method that I use.
Method to our madness.
I'm gonna stick me in here and do the same sort of thing again, where I just brush out all of this to kind of smooth me into it. Now this isn't great.
No.
This isn't the best
it ain't
that I
perfect.
can do, the best that I have to offer, and that my top talents. But it gives me exactly what I want, which is me versus GLaDOS. And that's the whole point of the episode. I might add in a portal gun. Doesn't look that bad, actually. Me versus her. And then again, you see how washed out I am? That's normally how my camera looks anyway. But when we edit them down, Robin has like color grading and then contrasting and all that, and color improvements, because you're shooting raw, or as raw as you can.
Oh, the thing that came across, that's like the actual camera raw footage. Yeah, obviously you gotta do that.
And highlights and all that kind of stuff. So what I normally do is just hit
Mark probably does it too.
That's what it did to my face now.
Oh God.
Which, I mean, it has a style to it. It's stylistic, but it's just completely over contrasted. So I don't like that. You can hit auto contrast, and that looks okay.
Slightly better.
Either. Sometimes these work a bit better than others. Now, I like how the eyes look with that one, and it adds a blue. I'm a huge fan of blue shadows. I do them for so many different things and add blue to a lot of stuff, but for this I don't really like it. So I'm just going to mess with the curves. I'm not the best with curves. I wish I was.
Curves.
I usually do an S curve, which is like bring down the highlights a bit. Okay, I know I'm probably preaching to the choir to a lot of people on this, but if you're like me and didn't know this stuff before you started, curves are basically like, this is your dark and this is your light. So it goes up in a line. These are how much dark is in your picture and this is how much light is in your picture. So these are your shadows and these are your lights or your highlights, basically. Again, I'm probably butchering a lot of this, but you can bring down
I think you're doing all right.
So the light side of the pictures come down with this, because if I just go in and I use brightness, then the brightness is just going to shift the brightness of everything, and then the contrast is just going to shift that as well.
Of everything.
But what your curves allow you to do is shift up the darker areas. So the darker areas would be my beard, my hair,
I see
all the hair on my face,
the point of the curves are.
Plugs, whatever.
I like that idea.
Up. And then if any of those are kind of getting a little too bright, then you can bring it down with this. So a lot of pictures, a lot of like scenery and stuff like that, to make them like really pop out. This is like an S curve, as they call it. You can push that around, and it just makes things pop a little more, the dark, so you don't lose the detail in the dark. If you didn't see all the hairs in my beard here, it would be like crushing blacks, which means that you lose all the detail in your beard, or all the details in backgrounds. If you're ever watching a movie and you're looking at the dark aspects in it and it's really shadowy,
oh God,
you can't really make out what it is, that usually means that it's color graded wrong or it's lit wrong, because the blacks are crushing everything. All the detail is lost in the blacks. Sometimes people use that for stylistic reasons, to make the main thing pop out even more, but it's the same in whites. If there's no detail in the white elements, like if all the hairs were lost in my beard, then the blacks would be crushed and you'd lose all the detail. Anyway, I shouldn't be getting into this right now. That's not the point of this video. Now with the curves changed, I can up the contrast a little more to make it not look as bad, and then we'll just add a little vibrancy and a little saturation to it, so that like my skin just has a bit of an orange glow, the lips get a little pinker, the eyes get a little bluer, just so there's more color, there's more pop going on, and it catches your eyeballs a bit more, because humans are good at recognizing faces. That's another really good reason to put faces in your thumbnails. It used to be really frowned upon years ago, and a lot of the bigger YouTubers or people who never use their face and stuff would always be like, oh, stupid Let's Players putting their face and everything. Number one, it conveys a lot of emotion. That's why face cam is always really good, because if I'm playing a game, a lot of emotion is coming out, I don't want to talk over the scene, then you can see that emotion on my face. It's the same here. I mean, this is whatever, but for a game, like, say if it really upset you or you got shocked or scared, all of that's conveyed in one picture. But also, humans love faces. We like identifying faces. If this thumbnail if you went through a list of thumbnails like brrr, down the list, and this popped up in the middle of it, your eyeballs would identify what's happening so quickly. And that's what a good thumbnail should be able to do, is show what's going on in it very quickly. This is easy. Portals, done. GLaDOS, done. Me and GLaDOS, it's a versus type of screen. You've seen so many of those, done. It conveys a lot of information. This video is supposed to go, or the portal video is supposed to go up 11 minutes ago, so I need to wrap up my fucking thing. I want to see what it would look like if I put the portal gun in there. Let's do the same thing again. Select subject, see will it's selected properly. Not really. This one I kind of messed up because it's just not the same sort of thing, but it selected enough of it where my job gets a lot easier after that, where I can select this stuff. So this is what I meant by the contrast and the shifting edge. I could hit R and refine it.
Yeah, I
That's
hate
what the
that
refine edge
too.
tool does. It gets rid of
You just
the
got to get a higher
contrast
quality
between white and
image
black.
of that
But I
particular
could
item. If
smooth
you
first,
don't want that stupid garbage,
yeah,
just get
and then
a
up the
higher
contrast
quality
a lot,
image, or just
so that
look
it's
up
getting-
PNG.
The contrast is
of it.
basically determining between the blacks
That
and
would
whites.
help.
That's what contrast is, more or less. And then if you shift the edge down, it moves the edge closer to the subject. If you shift the edge up, it moves it away from the subject. So shifting it up brings in more of the whites. Shifting it down takes more of the whites out. And then if I do that, and then just take that out, I don't know why I always duplicate it and then move it out. I was trying, the idea behind this was to try and see if I could get it like it looks like it's in my hand. So it's like coming through the portal with me. That's not really coming across, and I'm just blocking a bunch of my face, and it looks kind of wrong. Something I hate is when you find images like this where it has the onion skin baked in. That's what this is called, by the way, this transparent background. I think it's called onion skin, which is really weird. But this portal gun is at a bit of a better angle. But when the onion skin is baked into it, it makes it so hard to like select stuff, like going across, because it selects all the squares. It's really annoying. But selecting subject worked out fantastically. And just kind of brush some of this out, or erase it out. I always erase. A lot of people would probably tell you to use masks. Masks are the same thing, but it's non-destructive. So as you scrub stuff out, you can go back and scrub it back in. I don't know. I'm just a dumbass.
No, you're not.
I like using the erase tool. I've always done it, and it bites me in the ass a lot to do that. This is part of the onion skin still, so I'm just going to brush that out as well. And see, these are all the tiny little details where later I'll go back and look like, that doesn't look great. But on far away, it doesn't really matter.
You're not going to notice.
But I just like how I have the portal gun in there, so it just kind of completes the picture. I don't like how this hits my face. We could, okay, let's add it with another tool called Puppet Warp, where this is and you can, well, that's only one node. 2 nodes, it sticks that in position. It puts 2.
You can move the you could just warp the actual thing.
Stuff around. Now with that like that, it doesn't look great. Put a bunch of pins everywhere to just kind of like lock it in place. But what you can do is start moving individual pieces. So then you can move this down, you can move this back up to make it.
That is actually pretty damn cool. I never knew you could do that. I was never taught that in class.
So now it's out of my face, but it still looks fine. It's not misshapen, it's not cut, it's not moved, and it's not warped too much. Great. Now I need a better background picture, and we're done. I'm gonna go with this one. It's Aperture from Portal 2. It's just the Aperture background. But the reason I'm going with this is that it's dark. It's dark and it's still in the universe, so it's still part of the game. And the reason I want it to be dark is because it pops me and GLaDOS off the image even more. Man, this portal gun looks so goofy. I'm glad it's there, but it also just looks like it's not the right size. It just doesn't look like it would be in my hand. What do I have? A teeny tiny little hand? It doesn't matter. It's done. It's whatever. It looks fine.
Yes.
I also want to add some glow.
Hello.
You can double click, go to outer glow. I have orange selected already because I was doing the portal thumbnail last night. And it just kind of adds more to it. You can hit this for the colors, and you can go around. You can pick whatever color you want, but you can also click this.
Try to match the color of it.
Like that. Does that look okay? Just adds a little more to it.
Make some a little orange.
So many people are probably at home going like, no, it looks so much better before. Yeah, I'll probably look back at this and go like, you're right. The blue looks really nice.
Yes, the blue looks right.
It looks better. It just adds like that sort of spectral, sci-fi, glowy sort of look that
kind of like a Doctor Strange.
Very, very, very final touch is to go to my face, sharpen. I use Smart Sharpen.
Sharpen.
And then this amount. This looks crap here. Like this looks nice because it's clean, it's smooth. When you put Sharpen on, it looks a little crappy. I'll put it on the gun as well, actually.
It reveals all the details in your face.
But for a thumbnail that's far away, I like adding Sharpen to stuff because GLaDOS popped out a lot. Like this is her normally, and then when you add this back, some of the edges pop out a little more. And again, when you're scrolling through your phone or you're scrolling through a TV or a computer, that tiny bit of sharpness just pops the image out even more and adds it away from the background, because the backgrounds are all blurred, but now this is sharpened, so it looks like it sticks out more. Normally I don't really like Sharpen, because if you start sharpening stuff too much, it starts looking like this.
Oh god.
Which is just hideous. But it does pop out all the hairs. The hair, the beard, the eyebrows, the sparkles in the eyes and everything just pop a lot more. So I like it a lot. But that is how I make a thumbnail. Normally I'm much faster at this because I don't have to explain it. I'm just plowing through it and doing it however I want. But I think taking your time to do a thumbnail, there's a million different ways that this could be better. There's a ton of different types of thumbnail I could do. I could start adding in lens flares, which I used to really lean on, and you can start adding filters and lens flares. I'll show you just a little bit about how I add in a lens flare. So we'll take this lens flare because I like it a lot. There's a lot of like
I think I know where this is going.
So if I was to do this, I would put it over the image, okay? Now if you've ever had an image and you're in Photoshop and you're wondering how you get this black out without taking out some of this detail, just go to this and hit screen and it takes out the blackness. And when it takes out the blackness, then it's basically taking out.
Nah, I thought he was going to do the flare thing with his eye.
If I removed all these and put it on a blank background, it wouldn't take out the black, because that's not how it works. And then normally I would put in some, I leave it in just for the sake of it, because it adds some sort of like blue glow to this. It adds to the whole like whooshiness of it. I don't know. It's just how my brain works. But normally I would, for like Subnautica thumbnails, I was adding in a lot of lens flares to them and a lot of dust, to make it seem like I was underwater and the lights were really like refracting through the water and the dust and everything. That just didn't look right. And to make it seem like it was kind of like a camera looking at it. Sometimes it adds more, sometimes it makes the image way too busy, but whatever. But now you see that the background doesn't really matter. It's just there to fill space. See, I took the background away, and now this lens flare, wherever it's not on a background, it doesn't take away the black, but when you put the background back in, it does. Anyway, that is how I make some thumbnails. Hopefully some of you learned something out of this. Again, I'm no expert. I don't really know a reason for half the stuff I do.
We're not all experts.
I don't know compositionally what I'm doing. I don't know like rule of thirds and all that kind of stuff. I just know it looks nice. And over years of doing it, I've probably developed some sort of framing techniques and some sort of style that I'm not aware of. It's just how I like things. I have been putting clean stuff on blurred backgrounds for years and years and years and years. I know everybody does it. I'm not saying I'm the first one to do it, but I was definitely some of the first in my friend group to be doing it. And I just always really liked Gaussian blur on things. It was really, really clean looking.
Vanos always has that freaking rainbow freaking background, and it's always
so much more.
And he always just makes it different.
Sharpened and then slightly
he always
blurred
just puts,
and really blurred. So it's like
I guess it's just that eye popping. It's just that weird ass thumbnail.
It just looks nice. I like what I like. I know it looks nice. I like colors. I like not. There's so little empty space in this now, which is great. And it just looks cleaner that way. But anyway, that is my thumbnail techniques. It's basically a lot of the techniques I use here are basically how I do everything. There's nothing really missing that I do. But if there's easier, faster, better ways of doing things, or how to add in lens flares and make them look like they fit images better, any of that stuff, feel free to let me know. I'm not beyond feedback and criticism on this because, again, I'm not a professional and I don't really know what I'm doing. Well, I guess I am a professional if I'm doing it professionally and uploading them to my YouTube channel that is monetized. But you know what I mean. So I'm all ears. I love to learn this kind of stuff and learn techniques, and watching other people's and other YouTubers and friends and everybody kind of show how they make stuff has really helped me out in the long run. So feel free to leave a comment down below if you learned something, or if you have any more information to give over. I'm all ear holes. But until then, goodbye! You're going up on YouTube now. Isn't that great? All right, lads.
I'm pretty sure it is. But yeah, that was pretty fun and interesting to see. I've always been curious. I'm like, what does he do? Like, because it's always different with some of the thumbnails. It has to be different. Like, I'm looking at some of the other ones now, like the one with him playing golf. And he's got to warp his face to look like that, and then you have like just normal looking thumbnails, like yeah, I guess screenshots from him playing Animal Crossing, and some of them don't have to have his face. That's another thing. Like, you don't have to have his, like, that's another thing. I kind of agree with. Like, not all the thumbnails don't need to have his face in it. For the right things, yes. Like, for certain things, yes. When it's appropriate, absolutely. But that's totally fine that way. And yes, I kind of don't do that. I do the opposite. And I just put myself in it all the time. But I get it's supposed to be the point of the thumbnails I make for these, especially, it's a reaction video. And I don't want to just, like, you know, take a screenshot from this video and try to make it edit it a little bit and then just do whatever. No, I wanted to be more different than what you usually would see, where it's like, you know, a moment from the video itself and the reaction in the video itself. What I wanted to be unique with it, and just, you know, take a frame, like a specific frame from the video itself that I'm reacting to, and using that as the background for it. Mine is not like his, like, not that complex, and I know that, but I try to, you know, make it unique, and try to, you know, just be, you know, simple with it. I'm trying to be simple and not, like, too crazy with it. So I would just take a frame from the video. If I have to take a picture, like update my picture, update a photo of me, like, you know, doing the usual poses that some people are kind of like, you know, poking fun at and critiquing, which is fine. If you don't like that, go watch someone else. But I do this. I used to do this until someone got really annoyed at that. Or sometimes I could probably do this. Maybe. I could do that, but I don't do that. But I do that, and then I have to, you know, erase the whole background around me. And stuff like that. And usually when I don't have my hat on, so I have to always show off my, you know, hair in this. And seeing that, you know, the lighting always is just all over the place, and I don't have, you know, the high production, like, recording room that he would have, I have to, you know, improvise and try to make it don't make it too obvious that I just erase the background and everything. But what I try to do is, I color in my hair to blend in a sense, so it doesn't look too stupid looking, where it's just like you could see the lighting of, like, you know, you could see the light above me popping off of my hair. Like, you know what I mean? That's why I color in my hair. I used to do, like, you know, like a brighter version of that color and just put strands in it to try to make it look like it's flowing. But now, after someone called me out on that, I'm like, I'm just gonna color it just color it itself, and then just blur it and everything. But what I also do after all that, I blur everything, just the edge of everything. So that's what I usually would do with my thumbnails. But if when it comes to like creepypasta ones, that's where I get a little creative with it. And maybe I should be more creative. And I know that. But there are some occasional thumbnails where I try to be more creative. I think there was like one thumbnail reaction I did where Jack was playing 3 scary games and I had this one frame of a glitched frame. And I had to improvise a little bit, so I had to take a little thumbnail of me, take a picture of me, and then just, you know, play around with it. It was... It was the one where he's like, oh, I don't feel right. This is all swirly, twirly. This is feeling weird. No, it's not anti. It's glitch phobia. It's that video, that thumbnail. I had to be a little creative with, and stuff like that. So I had to, you know, play around with it and try to like make sure it blends in. But it also, you saw the blue like part of the image, so I'm like, okay, let me just play around with it and try to, you know, be a little more cryptic of myself and, you know, play on with my lore. Yeah, sometimes I try to, you know, sometimes I add J or die into the thumbnails, sometimes a little faintly, just to try to be a little cryptic. Or I just throw in, like, them just for creepy video wise. Like, if it's a creepy thumbnail, I'll add them in there sometimes. I'll add J or die or even Xander into the thumbnail just to be a little, you know, just for shits and giggles. But on occasion, I will just, you know, update myself, because what if I decide maybe if I wanted to shape my beard and I still use the pictures of me when I still had the longer beard, it wouldn't make sense. I want to make sure it makes sense with what's happening, so it doesn't look too stupid looking. You know, that kind of like how he said with the whole, you know, you want the thumbnail you use to match your actual looks, what you actually look like right now, especially. That's usually how I do it. I know it's not as, you know, complex and as cool as he would do it, but since I'm only limited to and capable by this version of Photoshop, which is more watered down, then rightfully so. But I do want to improve my thumbnail, the look of my thumbnails, and maybe refine the edges. I think would really help too. I think that really helps. That would really help. That really helps with the whole, you know, thing there with, you know, making, instead of just, you know, erasing it, I want to, like, you know, click select and everything, but usually with quick select I can't deselect it the way on the computer. That's why I just erase the background. It makes it easier for me, so I don't have to fumble around and try to do it that way, you know? So I just, you know, erase it and everything, and then blend it in, blur it and stuff like that. And then usually, I forgot to mention, what I also do with the thumbnails is that I kind of like add this little filter to it, if that makes any sense. I don't think it does. But when it comes to like thumbnail making, like here I have one of the previous thumbnails I just did. So if I wanted to, like, I do a little FX filter here, and I just, you know, I usually do a Sleepy Hollow one, which kind of like gives it a little bit of a, you know, eerie, oh for fuck's sake, eerie mood. You know, it just, you know, darkens it a lot. It just darkens it. Like here it is before, and here it is after. Like, you know what I mean? That's what I usually would do with it. And I do I do the same filter to myself, but not too much. Because, like, if you look back at my older thumbnails, it kind of looks like garbage because I wasn't smart about it. From like a couple years ago. But right now, it's probably fine for me. But that's usually how I do my thumbnails. It's not as great and, you know, professional looking as how he does it. But since I'm only limited to what I have, the only resources I have, I gotta work with what I have. You gotta start somewhere. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed today's reaction. Overall, that was really fun and pretty interesting. I learned some new techniques. I kind of like the whole, you know, you can warp the actual photo itself. Like when he was messing around with the portal gun and trying to make sure it doesn't look too stupid and blocking too much of his face. He kind of like, you know, warped one of the, you know, the parts of the gun, the portal gun, which I thought was pretty nice. Which I never knew you could do that. I guess they just added that new feature to Photoshop, which is probably the most likely case. But overall, that was really fun to watch, seeing him making a thumbnail for once. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed today's reaction. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe, share this video with your friends. Be sure to ring that bell to be part of the notification squad. Be sure also to check out my Instagram because I make cool as Markiplier, Jacksepticeye, even myself. I also reenact as the cosplays on there, so go check it out. Be sure also to check out my Tumblr and my Discord in the description as well. So until next time, JRD96 signing out, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace!